Since the moment Episode Heresy started, Titans have been glued to the hip of Storm's Keep and essentially became a bull charge slot machine with various flavors, which essentially meant you were locked into playing Arc Titans. And given that this episode's artifact heavily played into Arc and bull charge, who could blame you? But the artifact didn't only favor Arc this season, it also produced some powerful mods for the Strand class, along with releasing a new Strand-based exotic, that being Barodyad. And recently a buddy of mine, shout out to Blue, was messing around with Strand Titan with all the Strand-based artifact mods, and given my enjoyment of testing Strand Hunter recently, which I did a video on, by the way, I thought, why not try out messing with the other classes on Strand too? And so here we are. Today I'll be going over a Strand Titan build that centers around using the new Barodyad SMG and using it to accomplish basically every Strand power fantasy. We'll be severing, unraveling, suspending, and woven mailing everything in sight. And no, I will not mail you any wovens. Do not make that joke, I will send hounds after you. And while we're doing all of that, we will also be taking advantage of our artifact mods and built-in abilities to get our Berserker Super within a matter of seconds, as well as keeping incoming damage to a minimum. Before we start with our character, let's go over the artifact mods first, because things will make a lot more sense afterwards. I'll go ahead and throw up the full artifact up on screen here for anybody that wants to copy it one for one, but I will be talking about only the specific ones that relate to this build directly. In this build, I'll be rocking Unraveling Ores, which states picking up an Ore of Power or a Tangle gives my Strand weapons unraveling rounds. Then the bonus for this is Strand weapons deal increased damage to Strand debuff targets, which is very easy to accomplish in today's build. Speaking of Tangles, we're also using Vile Weave, which states targets hit by your Tangles are severed, and it also reduces Tangle cooldown when you pick one up. Then we have Disruptor Spike. This says, improves the effects of Exhaust and Sever, lowering a target's damage output even further. So for those of you that don't know, Exhaust is basically a different flavor of Sever, but can be done on other classes. This is easily accomplished by simply using Overload weapons, and those weapons hitting a target, thus reducing their outgoing damage. So you have two different ways of applying Sever here. Then we have Elemental Siphon. When you defeat targets rapidly using the same type of weapon that matches your super, in this case a Strand weapon and a Strand super, you create an elemental pickup. In this case it will be a Tangle. When collecting elemental pickups that match your super, you then convert that into collecting super energy instead. Or rather, additionally, you still get the Tangle and you throw it at an enemy's face, either way. And the last Strand mod to showcase is going to be To Shreds. When you deal sustained damage to severed targets, you unravel them. Defeating a severed target creates a hotspot of Strand energy, granting woven mail to nearby allies for a short duration. Then the boost for this states, unraveling projectiles deal increased damage. These deal further increased damage to severed targets. So essentially, you're looping sever and unraveling back and forth to each other, and while you're doing this, you're getting bonus damage from two different mods to your Barodyad. Now that was the last Strand mod, but there are two more to mention that are not Strand related, and those actually do involve Bull Charge. So we're talking about Flashover and Defibrillating Blast. The way you proc Flashover in this case is going into content that has champions. Anytime that you stun a champion, you will instantly gain maximum Bull Charge stacks, which allows you to obviously hit the lightning on the target. This also makes you amplified, which gives you additional bonus damage resistance, 15% to be exact, and you're also harder to hit by enemies. While you're also doing that, every time that you proc Defibrillating Blast by stunning a champion, you also instantly heal yourself. This also happens if you proc Bull Charge on any enemy in general. Now let's quickly swap to the abilities just to round everything out. So obviously we're using Berserker, that's our super for this build. The Barricade in this case does not matter, you can use Towering or Rally depending on what you like personally. We're using Frenzy Blade as our melee of course, and then in our Grenade, we're using Shackle Grenade. This allows us to suspend targets in content that needs it to happen, such as GMs where you need to stun an unstoppable champion and you're not running a weapon that does it, well you can use your Shackle Grenade to do it instead. Now in our aspects, the first one is going to be Into the Fray. This allows us to gain woven mail by either destroying a Tangle or just simply casting our super, which you can do very easily in this build, given that you're going to charge your super within like 30 to 60 seconds. And when you have woven mail, you also regenerate your melee very, very quickly. Speaking of our melee, our other aspect is going to be Banner of War. Now Banner of War does a couple of things here. Number one, it just straight up heals you. When you have any Banner of War stacks, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, you get pulsating heals. So it already provides a great layer of extra survivability in this build. Then on top of that, it also provides bonus damage to any melees that we use or swords. So if you happen to run a sword in this build, if you'd like, along with your Barodyad, just for some extra damage on, let's say, a champion, you could do that and get bonus sword damage from that. But also, for our melee specifically, Since we're going to use Banner of War, we can utilize that with our Frenzied Blade to just sever targets. And when we sever targets, we also unravel them, which means it gives free damage to our Barrow Dyad in that sense through our artifact mods. And while we're shooting these severed targets and getting unraveling rounds, we are also proccing Woven Mail when we rapidly shoot a severed target and making that strand burst. Speaking of Woven Mail, let's talk about our fragments. So, we have 4 of them, and the first one is going to be Thread of Warding. Picking up an Aura of Power grants Woven Mail. You cannot have enough sources of getting free Woven Mail in this game for Strand or any build in that matter. So we have a way to get Woven Mail from orbs with this fragment. We have a way to get Woven Mail through popping our super, and we have a way of getting Woven Mail by simply just shooting a severed target. 3 different instances of getting free damage resist. And with that, we lead into our second fragment, which is going to be Thread of Transmutation. While you have Woven Mail, Weapon Final Blows create a tangle. You want to do this because the moment a tangle is created, you can shoot it to make that severing burst and also damage all your targets, get free super energy, and so on. Also, keep in mind that you can make multiple tangles very quickly because of Vile Weave, allowing you to have a lower cooldown of tangles. Our third fragment is going to be Thread of Isolation. Landing precision hits emits a severing burst from the target. So again, you get severing on a target, then the severing turns into unraveling, unraveling turns into Woven Mail, and you get your whole engine going just off of that. Lastly, we have Thread of Continuity. Suspend, unravel, and sever effects applied to targets have an increased duration. You just have a bonus timer on all your CC, and why wouldn't you want to have that? Now, we've talked about all the Strand verbs, but what about Exhaust? I mentioned that in the artifact. Where does that fit into this? So, for our build, Dyad is going to be our primary weapon to use on most things, but in some cases, you can end up using your machine gun on any target, particularly that's like an orange bar, yellow bar, champion, etc. This qualifies as your overload weapon. That's one of the mods in the artifact, overload machine gun. That means it qualifies for exhaust. So you can apply exhaust to any enemy that actually is a threat to you. Obviously, red bars, you're just going to slice them or just throw your bicycle wheel Dyad at it, and then they'll die. But to a stronger target, like let's say a subjugator that won't die right away, you can exhaust them, which means you can exhaust and sever them, and they will do literally 0 damage to you. Alright, maybe not 0, maybe like a 0.5% or whatever. So because of this, I would recommend running a LMG in your heavy slot, whether it's corrective measures or the Strand machine gun in the Pale Heart. You can synergize that with elemental supercharge in the artifact too if you'd like for more super energy. But any LMG really would do, just so you have the ability to exhaust and also stun overload champions, of course, in the event that you're doing champion content. And finally, what's the exotic armor piece and how are we getting our super so quickly? So, our exotic armor piece is going to be Peacekeepers. Since we're leading into using Barrow Dyad as our main weapon, Peacekeepers is the perfect choice for this, given that it buffs the damage of submachine guns. And that works great for us in 2 ways. A, you get bonus damage on Barrow Dyad in both your surges and your actual boots in the exotic slot. And you also gain a ton of super energy, because when you use a primary weapon that shoots many bullets at a chunky target, like a subjugator again, you're going to get a ton of super energy through it. This also works for any enemy that you don't basically one-shot on patrol, because the way the system works in PvE with gaining super energy is the more hits you get on a target, the more super energy you develop very quickly. And that's before we factor things in like Ores of Power, Elemental Siphon, or other artifact mods that boost super energy, and armor mods. Speaking of which, let's go over the armor mods. Small edit here, I realized I'm yapping about Peacekeepers, but I didn't actually mention what perks I have on my Barrow Dyad. So, it depends a little bit on what you're going for with this weapon. If you're going for single target damage, Target Lock is the way to go. If you're going for ad wave content specifically, then I would go with either One for All or Hatchling, depending on which you like better personally. But anyway you slice it with the Catalyst, you always want to go with the Taken Ambition perk on Dyad rather than Resolve. Resolve is just significantly worse in basically every way, so always avoid that one at all costs and go with Ambition. Alright, lastly, here are the mods. I don't want to keep you guys here for 10 minutes yapping about all the mods, so I'll briefly go over them. If you have any questions about them, feel free to ask. I'll also have a dim link for this full build down in the description if you want to check out the build and try it on your own. And also follow my other socials, they're free, so why not? So here we go. We have Dynamo, Strand Siphon, Font of Wisdom, Boast of Detonation, Heavy-Handed, Strand Loader, 1 copy of each resist in my chest, 3 copies of Strand Weapon Surge in my boots, 1 copy of Bomber, 1 copy of Distribution, and then 1 copy of Time Dilation. The goal here is basically get my super as fast as I can with cooldowns, orbs, etc., and also pump my damage with weapon surges. That's pretty much the gist of it. And that's the build. Try it on your own and let me know what you think. In the meantime, if you did enjoy the video or the build, please consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow and is much appreciated. If you want to go the extra mile, you can leave a like and or comment below as well. If you don't know what to leave as a comment, you can leave Banner of Dyad as the comment. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.